A lot of people want to go into sales leadership, but a lot of people don't really know how to pass the interviews. In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to pass the interview stage and give yourself the best chance possible to get hired as a sales manager. If you're new here, my name is Eric Gravely. I make content about sales leadership. Now, to get into it, we're going to talk about 5 different steps or 5 different topics when it comes to getting hired as a sales manager. And the first one I want to start with is just some advice, right? It's just a bonus type of situation here. Your best opportunity to get hired as a sales manager is if you work for a smaller company. You're like, for one, and when I say smaller company, this is hear me out. Smaller companies have more opportunity because they're not working with some of the same budgets and things that larger companies might have. So what you have, if you are skilled, is you typically can find opportunities to do more or grow and kind of develop into that leader. Now, if you are already a sales, if you're already in sales, you're already someone that's had your eye on leadership, this video is for you, because I'm going to show you how to pass the interview stage from my experience, right? Everybody's going to have a different experience. This is just mine. So for one, number one is applying versus being approached. So I've done different things, right? So I've applied to be a manager at different companies. Usually that's not always how I get, roles. The biggest thing that kind of helps is actually being approached for the role. And so there are different ways that you can kind of do this, right? So number one, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has been huge. I know a lot of people have their own feelings and opinions about LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has been really, really huge for me. I've gotten hired and I've been offered, I've received offer letters from 4 different companies over the years. My first one being back in like 2019, somewhere in that area. But then recently I've gotten 3 different offers from different companies, all from LinkedIn. I was approached by on LinkedIn from the recruiters, and went through the entire process. So what I'll say is, in my experience, getting approached is a lot better than applying. Can you get a job by applying? Absolutely. But I think the biggest thing is it's different when you're being sought after. It's different when you're wanted. So in the past, what I've done is, create, a good LinkedIn profile, right? I'll make sure that the description's nice. I have a nice banner. I have a professional photo as the profile picture, my job experience, and I at one time I had put some testimonials that I had got from agents that I was working with, or sales reps that I was working with. What I found when you are approached in 2026 anyway, you want to have content. Content is what sets you apart from everybody else. So I started recording content and posting it in 2025. And in 2026, as I started to post more and be more active on LinkedIn, and people sharing my content, liking it, et cetera, what's happened is it's given me leverage, I guess you want to call it. I've gained more leverage now that I've been posting more content and kind of just displaying some of the things that I know or my experiences in certain situations, right? And so I think by doing so, it's gotten me recognized, and it's helped the process, I'll say. So that's number one. Applying versus approach. I would say being approached is the best way to go, but you're not wrong to apply. Number 2, so the screener interview. So this is the initial interview that you have with whoever maybe have posted the job rec or is actually looking for people to fill the role. These are typically recruiters from actual recruiting companies or staff directly for the company. I've had both play out. And when you go to the screener interview, what you really want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you are building value in yourself. So you'll get similar questions that'll bleed into other parts of this process, but typically they want to know what your experience is, what your day to day is like at your current role, to try and see if what you do can translate over to what they might need. They want to see if what you do on a daily basis can translate over to what they need. And so they ask those questions. They also ask maybe if you are showing your LinkedIn profile that you're looking for a role. They may ask you, why are you looking, et cetera, et cetera. Really, they want to see if you're a good fit for the role. And if so, what they'll do is they'll send your resume up to the next stakeholder within that process, and that can look like different things. I've had that be someone who would be a peer if I was to be hired, someone who I would report to if I was hired. So it can vary, but that screener interview is just really you selling or building value in who you are, what some of your skills are, answering questions about maybe what your day-to-day is to see if you'd be a good fit for the role. Now, number 3, the first interview. So this is the first interview. Like I said, this is going to be with a stakeholder for the position. It can be someone who is someone you'd be a peer of in the role. It could be someone who's really just helping out in the role, and they have another role that they actually are more full-time with, but they're helping out in this one. Or it could be someone that you would report to. And so for one, the people that are looking to hire, they're looking to see if you would be able to do the job without much training, number one, sometimes without much supervision, depending on how their organization is kind of structured. They also want to know if you're a culture fit. They want to see if this guy or this gal is gonna cause any problems. Are they gonna come in and work hard? Are they gonna give us the results that we're looking? And so some ways that you want to kind of go about this interview is build value in yourself, build value in what you can do. And then they may go into some technical questions about sales or data, KPIs, coaching, different things of that nature. And so you want to have good answers for those. Hopefully that you've been watching some of my other videos or just doing your own research. But that's really what they're going to ask. Now, one piece of advice that I have when it comes to interviews is kind of trying to do like a trial close at the end lines, just because what happens is, you want to, so this is sales, right? So they want to see if you have any sales skills, number one. But two, you want to kind of be able to answer any questions that, let me not say questions. You want to be able to answer things or concerns that they might have about you or moving you forward, if any. But hopefully you did a really good job of building value in yourself and answering some of those technical questions, and they're going to want to move on with you. But another piece of advice, be charming, be funny, be someone that's relatable, be a human. Because you don't want to be a robot in these types of situations. You don't want to be someone that is, maybe too serious. I don't know. Just when I've been hired by people, I've had good conversations, and I think that's been a hallmark of mine. Is communication. So just make sure that you have good conversations, build value in yourself, not just in what you can do, but the person that you are. Now, second interview. So this second interview is usually the one that decision maker is on. Now, this can vary depending on how long the hiring process can be. I've had interviews where the first person I talked to was the major stakeholder, the person who actually makes the decisions. I've also had interviews where the person that's second, if you get 2 green lights having that first interview and then also the second one, typically you get the role if there's no other competition that is performing as well as you. So the second interview can be someone that's a VP. They can have maybe a more supervisory role to whatever role that you're going for, and in this case would be sales management. And it's very similar to the first, man. They're going to ask you, they want to see if you're a good fit. They might have some different questions that get asked. I've had some really good questions be asked on the second interviews. Like there was one guy who had asked me, what am I not telling them? If I was to be interviewing myself right now, why wouldn't I hire me? That was a really good question, thought-provoking. And I like those types of questions because it kind of gives you a chance to answer questions that are not scripted, right? Like there, you can go through interview prep, you can watch YouTube videos, whatever the case may be, but there are questions that you might not be able to answer immediately from memory or from practice. And I like those types of questions because I like to think on my feet, number one, but two, I think I'm really good with communication, and so those types of questions they allow me to speak in a way that I might not normally be able to speak about a certain topic. So I like those questions that are pretty thought provoking. But again, those second interviews, same thing. You want to try and do that trial close. And if you are, blessed enough to get past the second interview, then it's usually between you and maybe one or two other people for that third. Maybe, again, usually it's just one or two. Or usually it's just you and someone else. And so those third interviews, like I said, they can be with the higher ups. So I've had those third interviews be with COOs or CEOs or chief business officers, etc. I've had those different conversations, and the one thing that stands out to me, they just want to have a conversation. It's not usually like a test. They want to just, if you've made it this far, you've got a pretty good basis of knowledge. You've got a pretty good foundation of sales or coaching or understanding KPIs and data and how to leverage them. So usually with these final rounds, is they are a lot more lax, but you don't want to get caught off guard. So let me rephrase what I mean. When I say lax, they're not super high pressure. They're not trying to necessarily see how much you know. They're trying to get to know you and the person they could potentially be bringing on board. Is this person going to work hard? Is this person going to, be able to develop the talent that or the sales reps that I have or they have in the office? Are they going to get me the results that I'm looking for? It's typically what they're looking. It's more of a business type of, in my opinion, they're thinking more about the business as opposed to can you actually do the job. If you've gotten this far, you've clearly demonstrated that you can do the job, or you have a clear understanding of what you're able to do and how you can translate those skills into maybe a new challenge or bring what you know on board to another company. But again, they want to make sure that are they going to make the right decision. What I'm finding a lot more of in 2026 is that companies are less willing to take a chance on you because of how business is being done right now. Costs have been cut, and this is just going from my experience and just surveying the lay of the land. Businesses have cut expenses to try to maximize profit. And so what they have done in certain situations is, reduce department numbers from maybe 5 to 2 or 5 to 3 and try to increase the workload of the people that stay. And what happens is with sales, there's only a certain amount of there are people that are different, man. I've had many different experiences myself when it comes to hiring processes. I've gotten hired on the spot. I've had situations where a director comes in and greets me. She was like the screener, so to speak. And then the VP who made the decisions, he's the one who actually came in and we had that conversation and I got hired on the spot. Another situation, like if companies are going to give you 70, 80, 100 plus, those hiring processes are typically longer because they want to make sure that they're vetting you and doing their due diligence. What I would say is make sure. See, like, here's advice that people are giving, like, make sure that you send a message to the people that interviewed you. And, like, courtesy-wise, I mean, I can see why people do it. Me, personally, in my experience, I've never seen it work in my favor. Like, there was a company that I was hiring with or interviewing with in 2025, and I thought it was going really, really well. And I got to the third interview. The first two went really well. The first one was in person, and there was two people who interviewed me. I think it went really well. Second one, same thing. Guy was into to fantasy football. I'm into fantasy football. We were talking about it. It was great. And I got to the third round. Third round, kind of shaky. That's another thing. So the third round can go shaky because they can be a little bit more difficult to read. But if I feel like it's shaky, like it's hard to determine, see, it could go 50-50, man. So in that situation in 2025, I didn't get the role. And I had did what they had asked, which was send out those emails to thank them for interviewing me. It's weird to me. And the COO said that he didn't see how my skill set could translate. So I thought that was really interesting. But fast forward to 2026, I've gotten all green lights on all three final interviews that I've done so far. So I say all that to say, I mean, it can have some value, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it. I make sure your resume is in good standing. Make sure it's organized. Make sure it would pass an ATS, which is applicant tracking system. I haven't done cover letters. I've never done a cover letter, so I'm not the person to ask about that. What I would say is the biggest things to really make yourself stand out: get your LinkedIn profile straight. Make sure that you post content about your skill set. Just be active on LinkedIn, and then the right people will find you if you put out enough content consistently enough. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for being here. If this video was something that you liked, please hit the like button for me. Subscribe. So I'll leave you guys with that. Peace. Appreciate you.